All right. It's really a great pleasure for me to offer the service and the support to everybody in our community and to take this opportunity to thank you all for your dedication and the commitment to promote local food. This is our first open forum this year, and we will use this as an open public free discussion, everybody share information venue to gather input and to see how much you get from the value of participating in our community and for us to get an assessment of what kind of support and the services we could provide offer to you and your organization to support your work. This is my current contact information on the screen, but feel free to send me the email or call me, whatever you like to do. I'll be happy to share information with you. First of all, I want to thank USDA NIFA for their contribution and continuous support to our e-extension system overall and also to our community of practice. Katie Wright, this group will not operate if it's not for Katie's work and her technical support to help us to do webinar, online forum, and all kinds of discussion that we sustain with our community. Now, Brian, most of people know Brian. He doesn't need any more discussion, and he gets plenty of time later to talk about himself. But he is the one of the founder, the key driver for our community to survive and to strive over time. So Brian is a great, great person to work with. Katie and Brian supported me in the transition of the leadership position for the last 2 months almost. And that was great to have such outstanding colleagues to support me. Today we have a really brief and a simple to follow agenda to share with you. We will start with some simple introduction and a background about what e-extension is doing and what our community of practice is about. Brian will follow with some of his perspectives as the founder of the community, share some history. We have the USDA leaders joining us to share some of the information. Then we'll go into working group updates to show you what our community has engaged in the past and how new members or whoever is interested participating on the call today that you can develop and evolve over time. And then we will do the quarterly meeting as well, it's basically just Brian and I, we agreed on this forum. It's a really great opportunity for everybody to take a few minutes to share your work, your story, your success, and then or any challenges, any barriers that you need help with. We will go through the quarterly open forum to to see how we can support each other, and then finally we'll open for discussion and some announcement. I'm just going to show you some screenshots about this extension system. To utilize e-extension service is free. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to have an institution membership. Anybody can go online to read and access most of the public reports and the publications, cases, and the blogs, and those kind of things. So you just need to type extension.org to log into the website. That's our main web page of e-extension. And then on top, you see the gray banner I highlighted for you. They're about us, membership, and the other categories of the information you could access. So this is open for anybody to use. Now, if you click on membership, you will find out some of the benefits. Some people don't even know if their institution has an institutional membership or not. Now, e-extension institutional membership relates to the land-grant universities in the United States. If you're not a land-grant institution, but you would like to support the e-extension program, please feel free to contact the program leaders. You can contact our CEO with the extension operation, and those people will be more than happy to help you. But here is for some of the institution members that is actually listed on the membership website. You just click on it, you will see if your institution is a member or not, and at what level. So this is the general overview of different type of institution membership, what is exactly is covered. In my previous school, University of Vermont, we pay premium membership, and that gives the extension research staff members the access to some of the scholarship, travel funding, and the small grants kind of thing that people can collaborate with. The basic membership does not cover some of the funding opportunities. And then there are non-members. If your institution is not a member, then you cannot use some of the funding opportunities, but you can still access the information on website. There is a group of I3 initiatives. I highly encourage everybody to check it out. Again, this is all free information, and this relates to how e-extension evolve and offer functions and services over time. This is a good chart for you to include in some of the grant applications that you want to justify why and how you intend to work with the e-extension systems. This is a good place to start with to look for some language, some wordings that you can insert to your grant application. And this is our community. It's a community local and regional food systems. This is the main website. When you have a e-extension community ID kind of thing, now that's different from your regular email or your private account ID. You need to be either invited or you can volunteer. Just send a message to Katie Wright, or you can send it to me or Brian. We can invite you to become the extension member. We have people wanted to leave our program, which we really don't want to see that happen, but we respect your right. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to leave our community, please also send a message to me or Brian or Katie if you had trouble to leave the community, and that's absolutely okay. Right now, we have over 400 members. We have 8 leaders in our group and the 6 people being invited or pending invitation there. So if you're one of those, please click on accepting invitation. Then you can participate in our activities. On the right hand side, I clicked on my name and it shows my profile, privacy, sharing options, change password, and those kind of things. So that you will be able to do that once you become a member with our community. We have a community forum down here, Google group, and some of the activities uploaded online that you can see. Now, the value of joining our community has a different perspectives based on what you're looking for. As I just mentioned, the e-extension community of practice, particularly in our group, we document, share, and exchange information based on our work. Some people share their program stories. Some people share case studies. Some people talk about their projects, whatever they're doing, and some people ask for help. One of the most popular category for people to contact me, Brian, and Katie is to get a letter of support when you're preparing for a grant proposal. Many USDA programs encourage PI, which is a principal investigator, or co-principal investigator, or even collaborators to get in touch with the e-extension program leaders and to get a letter of support. Now, we will be very happy to offer you letters of support if you could help us out by providing plenty of time and plenty of information for us to work with you. At the end of this slide, we said we support majority of requests. Brian told me to say it that way. we I don't think we turn down anybody for any particular reason per se, but you really need to help us out to give us time and look at the concepts and really put a strong letter to support you. Uh, myself, and Brian were true volunteers. So are all other working group leaders with our community. We don't get a penny out of doing this whole thing. Now, Katie is funded through her project in University of Arkansas that her PI had a really good way to elaborate Katie's time in her own grant proposal to write in financial support for technical support and service and functions with the extension for Katie. So that's how we operate in our community. We would appreciate for anybody who are in the process of preparing for proposals, contact us at least a month before the due date of your grant because we would love to have a conversation to talk about your project, what you intend to accomplish, and what kind of services and functions that we can provide as the e-extension community to support your project. We usually support information dissemination as webinars, as a blog, as a publication, reporting. Some people even use the e-extension webinar opportunity to deliver technical support, educational materials, and a whole variety of things that you could share in a very broad manner. If we share your information with our webinar, we usually and we probably all the time we will open to invitation to national, international level to expose and to raise the profile of your research. So it's really a win-win situation that you consider working with the extension for information sharing and the broad spectrum of audience you could gather in a very short time. We also appreciate the PIs or the co-PIs, collaborators, to provide a summary of your project proposal, like a purpose, what you intend to do, what you want to accomplish, and how you could plug in this e-extension element in your proposal. Since we are not funded to support the service and the function directly from USDA, we would really appreciate the PIs to put in some budget to cover some of our services, the time, technical support, a person like a KD, like that kind of thing. If we only rely on volunteers, the function is not going to be sustainable in the long term. So at this point, we really rely on the PI writing project budget and to help us. And then if you can also give us a few sentences that you want us to emphasize in the letter of support, that will be extremely helpful. And then give us 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks before your due date, then you will have time to look at our letter of support and decide, okay, are we missing anything? Is there anything you want us to add? We just need ample time to work with you to craft a really outstanding letter of support. We can do this with a USDA proposal, NSF proposal, NIH proposal, or a foundation level proposal, or whatever proposal you're working on. E-Extension is here to support you 100%. And we'll be happy to take questions at the end of this short presentation. Now I'm going to hand over to Brian to have a brief overview of his experience and a short summary of the history and the development of our community. Brian?
Yeah, thanks, Kathleen. So short is the operative word. I want to get done in less than an hour. 45 minutes is always my target for online meetings, just because I get tired, you know. First, I want to say thank you to Kathleen. A new distinguished professorship at North Carolina State, as she's taken this on, and we're blessed and we're thankful that you're there and that you're helping. Here's my entire history. So we're coming up on 7 years old with this crazy group. I just have to really quickly say that Kathy Roof over on the East Coast, Sharon Lesberg over in Wisconsin, were the ones that really had the vision. They called me up and said, hey, you've got this little idea started. Why don't we really make it blossom? And there were a lot of you who are on the call today. I'm looking who were in that early group of 20, 25 people. And when we first went to Pittsburgh. And so it has really, the impact has been felt. They've been documented, impacts have been documented across the board in numerous states of using this network to crowdsource, to get information, to help with local programming. It really impacts the communities. And so I'm just so thankful for all the folks and for the continued participation and the growth. And we just look forward to that, to continuing. So I'm going to quit with that and look forward to a little update from Debbie and folks from USDA, and then the working group updates, and then what's next. So I'm excited about that. So Kathleen, thanks.
All right, so let's hand it over to Debbie and Jeff.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good? All right, I got a thumbs up or 2 thumbs up, so I guess that sounds good. So again, I'm going to keep to Brian's short schedule. I really just wanted a couple of minutes just to update the group here on some of the reorganization and some of the good things that are happening in our little part of the USDA world. The first thing on that agenda is I want to mention that we have a new organizational name, which we're very excited about. We're now called the Local Food Research and Development Division. Yay! Yay! We actually have official recognition. Instead of having Marketing Services Division, a very generic description that nobody really understood what we did. So we're hoping that this is part of our new effort to rebrand ourselves and to publicize our work. Beyond that, I wanted to mention, because many of you have not yet had the chance to meet him, our new division director is Ken Keck. He came from the citrus industry, where he's worked for a variety of trade associations in Florida and California, as well as has been responsible for some of the research and promotion activities that the trade associations were in. So, but has been quite the quick study in picking up our area of work, and very enthusiastic about it and the way that it links into communities and our stakeholders. I am now serving as deputy director, and many of you have heard about me for a very long time. Maybe you don't want to hear from me. That's fine too. But I am very excited to be part of an organization which I think is in a real growth mode. And to that end, I want to announce that we have 3 new hires. And considering that our entire staff is 8 professionals and 2 supervisors, that's a pretty big percentage. I leave it to you economists to figure it out off the top of your head. First of all, we've got Jeff O'Hara here, and I'll let him chime in a sec. And he came over to us. Many of you know him from his great work on doing the economic impact of local food when he was working as an economist over at the Union of Concerned Scientists, and we are delighted to have him as part of our staff. He is leading the charge in many different aspects here. One of the things that he has taken on most recently is spearheading our organization of a local foods metric conference that we will be holding at GW in partnership with the Department of Sustainability, which of course former Deputy Secretary Kathleen Merrican oversees at GW, using their facilities the first week of April 2017. It will be invite only, but we are expecting to have somewhere in the 250 attendee range. So I think there will be plenty of opportunity for many people in this phone call and others that are leading researchers to be involved. And right now we have an internal working group consisting of representatives across the USDA family and GW. As we get a firmer idea of topics and themes, we will certainly be communicating that as well. So keep that under your hat. Secondly, Carlos Coleman, who may be familiar to some of you, joined us full-time last fall, as did Jeff. Carlos had been a Pathways intern with us for a few years before he did a stint far away. He actually was living in Abu Dhabi, working in market research for oil companies, among other things, while his wife taught English. He's back with us full-time, spearheading our work on our newly approved OMB information collection from the Farmers Market Managers Survey. Yay us. So we finally have crossed that bridge, and we'll be coming out soon with some selected observations from our timely surveys and a much more concise survey of the farmers market manager community. Lastly, I want to mention we brought on Americo Vega Labiosa, who is a recent graduate from the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, who is of course bilingual and is spearheading a lot of our efforts to pump up our outreach and publicity and overseeing the development of some of our bilingual publications. So we really are trying to drum up more interest among Spanish speakers. And if you know of groups that can be added to our distribution list, we are circulating through GovDelivery. We are starting to set up a sign-up, opt-out type of list. We certainly would welcome that type of information. Lastly, I just thought I would give you a couple of hints and teasers about some upcoming work you can expect to see on the street soon. Already approved and just waiting final layout approval from the USDA Office of Communications is our long-awaited national survey on the results of focus group interviews conducted by Tim Woods at the University of Kentucky on the evolving business model of CSA. I am hoping that we will literally have that out on the street in a month or so. And many of you may have seen me present on it at AEA and have an idea. Tim too has printed some fact sheets and summaries related to the material and presented at various conferences, but we're very excited to have that available for you very shortly. Similarly, another colleague of mine, Samantha Schafstahl, has been working with Lydia Cepeda at the University of Wisconsin on her team on what we like to call a meta-analysis of mobile market operations. If you go to Lydia's site at the University of Wisconsin, you'll see something posted that she presented at AEA, very similar to what the final paper will look like. We are still waiting to get final clearance from the department on it, but we do expect to publish that very shortly. Coming up is we are in the middle of wrapping up a study with Cornell on urban agriculture, kind of our first serious research venture into that space, which is looking at a number of both outdoor and indoor urban agricultural operations with the intention of really focusing on those that we think have serious commercial application. More on that later. Lastly, we are also, many of you may know this already, but we are actually taking on much of the lead role for USDA in guiding EPA and carrying out the interagency local food, local places initiative in communities around the country. I was fortunate enough, as another colleague, to attend a workshop in my hometown on urban agriculture a couple of weeks ago in Gary, Indiana, which was fantastic. We have been participating in work in Denver, in Greeley, Colorado, probably Christiansburg, Virginia going forward. We'll be very involved in the next round of reviews for competitive technical assistance awards and are trying very much to make sure that agriculture receives the focus it deserves when EPA and the other agency participants deliver a technical assistance product. So I think I'm going to just leave it there, just to give you a sense of what we're up to. It's very busy. and invite Jeff to say anything else he'd want to add. Maybe, Jeff, you can talk about the toolkit. I just realized I didn't mention it at all. Not a good idea. You there? I thought he was there. Maybe he's not there. Okay, I'll talk about it. I'm in my office. One thing I mentioned, most of you are probably familiar with the Economic Impact Assessment Toolkit that Colorado State University coordinated and that we published last year. We have just developed and gotten approval for a extension of our initial cooperative agreement so that we can undertake trainings that really both share the principles outlined in the toolkit regarding community engagement all the way through in-plan, out-plan software to underserved communities. And we will be doing some training coming up. Jeff will be at the FDRS meeting, Food Distribution Research Society meeting in New Orleans. I will be helping Becca with training at the National Small Farm Conference in Virginia Beach coming up on the 22nd of September. And we are actively engaged in discussion of coming up with ideas for sites over the next year. That would be an appropriate forum for these kind of trainings, but trying to extend it beyond the academic community in sort of a train-the-trainer format to community leaders and those that are taking a leadership role in doing assessments of local food priorities. So again, we are at your disposal. We're small but mighty. We have sometimes some hard copies of some of our materials. Happy to report that now if you go to ams.usda.gov, the AMS homepage, Agricultural Marketing Service, you will see that you can click on something called Local Food Research and Development. Makes it pretty easy. And when you're there, you can also, we have a box to click on local food publications that will take you actually to a search engine where you can find reports, publications. They're categorized. We have one category called food value chains. So you should be able to see a lot of our archival work. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Jeff is listed on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Jeff, would you like to follow through with a few things?
I don't have a lot to add, but hello everyone. I think Deb covered our efforts there pretty well. I know some of the people here and not others, so nice to meet you for the people that I don't know, and look forward to staying in touch.
Great. If anybody has any more questions or comments to follow up with both of them, their contact information is on the slides, and we will share the slides after today's discussion. Now, Deb had a fabulous segue to what we're going to start talking about our working groups. This first one is Dawn, Theomany, and Becca. Now, I know both of you are here, so Dawn and Becca, you guys want to take it over from here? You have 120 seconds.
I'm happy to take over. This is Dawn, and do you advance my slides, or this is our one slide, right?
This is the one slide, yeah.
So, well, Deb already talked about one of the main things we were going to talk about, which is the local food economics website, and the primary focus of that is the toolkit she mentioned was supported by the Ag Marketing Service, but has about 10 team members from across the country on it. We will be doing a training. We'll be doing 2 presentations at the Small Farm Conference in Virginia Beach, a half-day training for people who want a little more time, and then a session just to overview how we're hoping it's being used to communities on a second day there. We're going to have a far more intensive training prior to the Food Distribution Research Society meetings in New Orleans at the end of the month. And the awesome thing about that is the Wallace Center came in, and because they're also really trying to strengthen a community of practice in this area, are going to make sure that we get some community members there for that and possibly the whole conference. And in addition, Dave Scheidler at Oklahoma State has a current NEFA grant looking at the economics of different food system channels. And so he provided scholarships to about 10 communities to get there for that training. So we're really hoping to continue to build capacity for people to do work on economic assessment in this area. And as Deb says, we're also looking with guidance for them about some case studies that would feature how communities can use this to make it feel a little bit like a less of a black box. Encourage you to use that website. We're trying to source all of our information at localfoodeconomics.com. There's a way to sign up for listservs so you are the first to know when we put new content up there. And the last thing I would say is if you use that same web address, localfoodeconomics.com, and then put /benchmarks, you will start to see some of the research coming out of the Oklahoma State Dave Scheidler project, where we're trying to develop more benchmarks for the economics and financial benchmarks of people doing direct and intermediate markets. So with that, I think I got done in time.
Great, Don. Thank you very much. If anybody is interested in looking for more details, more information, Don, Becca, and other people will be available in these 2 different conferences to interact with you. And their website is super, super well done. You will really enjoy their information there. The next group for update is our urban agriculture group. Now, who is available here? Lucy, are you here?
Yes, this is Lucy. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're very clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, great. So my name is Lucy Diekman, and for the last year and a half or so, I have been leading the Urban Ag Working Group, and it's a subgroup of this network for people who are interested in or involved in urban agriculture. And our major projects and accomplishment to date has been to conduct and analyze a survey of people within the extension system nationwide who are involved in urban ag. And that was a really clear focus for our group almost immediately. There was a lot of interest in finding out what else was going on in this sphere and also identifying some resources. So we had about 19 people from this network and from the working group who were actively involved in developing the survey, implementing the survey, analyzing the results, and then writing up a report. And I don't have the slide in front of me, but the report that it should be on the eExtension website with a URL, I believe, is on the right-hand side. And overall, we got 147 responses, which was exciting. And it was great in the survey to see the extent and the depth of extension involvement in urban ag, the wide variety of clients that are being served, the real range of activities that people are involved in. We also asked about some of the needs and challenges and found that, perhaps not surprisingly, many people face challenges in the area of funding, also tools to evaluate their impact in this area, as well as research-based materials to support their urban agriculture-related work. And areas where people felt like this network could really support them would be by providing networking opportunities, as well as training and evaluation and programs. So we have started to complete that work. Some of the next steps are identifying, well, people had, in addition to answering questions about their work, had also identified resources that they use. And so we're putting together a directory of those resources, which will hopefully be done fairly soon. I'm also working with a few others on developing a publication based on that survey data. And I think sort of in the broader sense, the bigger picture, we'll be looking to identify either follow-up activities or new projects. And finally, I think one of the next groups to go is the Undoing Inequality in the Food System group. And we recently recruited 2 new volunteer leaders for that group. And it has been really great to have them on board and to have the energy and the momentum they bring. And so with this group, I also wanted to throw out the invitation if there's anyone who's interested in being involved in a leadership role in the Urban Ag Group, please contact me. It would be great to have more participation. I think that's it. I'm a little over 2 minutes, but.
That's all right, Lucy. Thank you very much. You're just like a Dawn. You guys have been really busy doing some really outstanding work. Lucy's contact information is on the slide. And her online information linking to the reports, and some of the information is on the right-hand side of the slide. Again, you will find more information that can support your work, grant writing, research, or any purposes. These are outstanding resources. Thank you, Lucy. This one, we have Lisa and Rachel. Are you guys here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is Lisa here. I think Rachel may be joining. She wasn't sure if she was able to join into a conflict today. But recently we sent out a survey that was completed at this, the last time I checked, I think it was actually 36 people had completed the survey. And basically, of all those people, everyone said either yes, about 75% of people said yes, they're still interested in the work, and the other 25% said maybe. So I think there's still very strong interest. And like Lucy said, we have Rachel and I as co-leaders, as well as Lucy, you know, being very involved and supportive as well. So I think we plan to move forward with getting this working group, let's see, more active again. So from the survey, some of the things that came up as areas of interest for people, lots of things came up. What I have on the slide here are just some of the themes that we saw emerging again and again, and certainly a lot around food security and food access. You know, although there was interest in urban food access as well as rural food access, and a big focus on produce access, as well as how gardening can help with food access and food security. Addressing racism was another big theme within the food system, as well as educational programming. So people are interested in educating others that work in the food system, sharing any kind of educational resources that might be available or have already been developed. And then there's also interest in creating programs and curriculum development around this topic. Let's see. So also engaging communities, especially a lot of people commented on engaging communities and empowering leaders and community members to do a lot of this work within their own communities. And then evaluation was another big theme. So, you know, how do we determine what the inequalities are that we're talking about? How do we measure the effect of any programming? You know, what would be a good metric to measure the effective programming that we're doing? Or another big theme was, you know, again, engaging community members within that research and empowering them to do their own research. We also asked in the survey, how would you like to contribute, or what outcomes are you interested in? And so, oh, and thank you for, so at some point I'll actually put the link to the survey on the chat. I see Brian just added the survey. At first I thought you added our survey, but I'll add it when I'm done speaking. And then, so as far as outcomes and next steps, a lot of people were very interested in webinars. So I think we'll really discuss a series of webinars on this topic. And about half of the people were interested in working on scholarship efforts, whether that's grant applications, you know, writing, presenting at conferences, things like that. So our next step is really to schedule a conference call, begin scheduling those webinars, and then I guess about half of us talk about how we want to partner for scholarships. So thank you. I think I might have used up all my 120 seconds.
That's all right. Thanks, Lisa and Rachel, for your great work. Racism and ethnicity, food justice, and all these kind of things are really growing interest among many, many scholars. And I do believe that your group, the working group, has a great potential to recruit more participations and to support such a strong work and interest in the future. And we'll be happy to help you to support that function too. Next one is Duncan. Duncan, are you here?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're up.
Great. You hear me okay?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, excellent. I've got an old earpiece here, and I'm holding it very close to my voice, so hope you can hear it. Well, I am with the License Center for Civic Agriculture and Food Systems, and probably most of you know me more as the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Agriculture, Food Systems, and Community Development. I think most of you also know that I am helping facilitate the North American Food Systems Network, which is a growing professional development network for nonprofit and agency staffers, scholars, activists, folks inside and outside of Extension. And the impetus for NASN was a national survey that we did a few years ago with about 1,400 respondents inside and outside of Extension reported challenges to their local food systems work, but also reported how the fragile nature of their livelihoods and the desire for more job satisfaction. So our focus is really on professional development. They were able to rank the highest priority training needs they had, especially in leadership, grant writing, and building strong programs that last beyond, the initial grant year. So for more than a year, we've been collaborating with groups, about a dozen national institutions that include the Community Local Regional Food System Community of Practice, the Leopold Center, American Farmland Trust, and more recently, the National Association for Community Development Extension Professionals, thanks to Susan Kelly. Is Susan online by any chance? Well, in any case, we've been meeting and scoping out this food systems development training and certification program. We've been able to get together in person a couple of times in Iowa and San Antonio, thanks to the work of some of the colleagues on our phone. Brian especially was instrumental in helping us get the travel grants to get together. The work team's been able to focus on visioning a new kind of out-of-the-box training system. We'll be referring NASN members to existing training programs, which we'll have an accrediting system for. Trainees of these programs receive digital badges to recognize their completion of a specific portion of the training. And in the future, if a member accumulates a specific number of virtual badges, they qualify for professional certification as a professional food systems developer. And we're also considering requiring the submission of a peer-reviewed project report, which demonstrates their knowledge or their actual use in the field of core competencies and best practices, or alternatively taking a final exam to qualify for certification. So we're currently actively seeking funding opportunities to do an inventory of existing training programs. We have a lot of them. Many of the folks on this call actually are connected to what we're doing in this inventory. We're developing an accreditation program. This is to make sure that existing programs that are supplying training, doing workshops and conferences, are meeting the core competencies that we are defining as critical to doing local food systems work. And we'll develop or identify gaps in the current training, and we may need to do some original content. But basically, we're trying to work with existing programs that are supplying it, and then give badges to our members who are able to participate in it. And then if they accumulate enough of these, they get that certification. They get a certain number of badges in each of the core competencies. Then they'll qualify to take the exam or to do a peer-reviewed project report that demonstrates their knowledge of the core competencies and best practices. So a few just if I could mention a few of the cool things that we're looking at right now. Wish Heidi was on the phone now, so she could share part of this as part of our core foundational training modules that we're putting together. We're considering adapting the SARE-funded Growing Home Certification Program, which came out about 10 years ago. Was launched in more of an in-person, online, and live training, but we would like to convert those materials and the guidebook that Joanna Green, who some of you may know, and I wrote, called Growing Home Certification, a guide to reconnecting agriculture, food, and communities. We hope to convert that guidebook into an online self-paced unit and for the training and certification program. And it includes things, critical things that complement the nuts and bolts economics work that needs to be done. It's absolutely critical for successful food hubs and other local supply chains. But things like stakeholder analysis, force field analysis, and visioning and asset mapping and rapid community appraisals and project benchmarking and doing social and economic impact analysis, which is increasingly required by funders. So I'm meeting with Heidi Mulia-Kunzman actually tomorrow to discuss this more. And we're meeting with Craig Wood of eXtension next week to talk about developing a more of a user-friendly, state-of-the-art hybrid network and training platform, sort of a massive open online course system that aggregates a lot of what's existing in the extension system, is vetted so that it's accredited to provide a badge towards your certification in professional food systems development. And then we're meeting with Jim Barham, who's our national food guru at USDA. He's also a founding member and lifetime member of NAFSN and is helping us identify funding opportunities to support further development of piloting and launching of the certification program. So we're still in the phases of development, but hope to be at least in a position to vet and accredit existing content that's out there and start giving people virtual badges for the accomplishments of taking that training, and then further developing the whole certification component, which is a little more, and the accreditation component, which is a little more involved. You can find a lot. I don't know if my slide is up. I'm calling you by phone.
Your time is up, Duncan.
Thank you. Well, you can see some of this as well. It's a group of us who were meeting in San Antonio working out our map. And although it looks like the contact information is cut off, but you can find a lot more details about certification, what NAFSN's up to, this being its signature program, the certification program, online. And sign up to be a member, to get involved. It's not expensive. It's an all-volunteer army at this point, but we are in grant mining mode to secure the resources we need to really get the certification, our signature program off the ground.
Well, let's do it this way. Duncan, if you can forward me and Brian and Katie the information, some of the website and the contact information, then we'll be happy to share that with you, with our participants today. And we can also post
I will do that.
Yeah, we can also post the information on our Community of Practice website, so everybody can access that.
Sounds good.
Thank you
very much. In the meantime,
much.
If you're interested in poking around, you can just Google NAFSN or Google certification. It will take you to those web pages on the NAFSN website that give some more detail about what we're doing.
Great, thank you.
But I will send you the formal links.
Now,
Welcome.
people here who are still on the call with us, let's offer you a good example how to form a new working group, and Brian is doing one right now, and what it means or what it takes to form a working group. So Brian, you have a few seconds to give us a really quick summary about how you're doing it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kathleen. I'll do this really quickly. But there's one other working group that I'll mention. Kim Nwani wanted to be on the call. She was an original founding member. Great amounts of work. Peace Jack, my buddy, you want to give a quick update on the content management that's now become the network of networks?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot here.
But you know all this, man. It's, you know, just give us a 30 or the 60-second overview.
What I will say is that eXtension's helping support a fellowship right now, and I'm sort of looking at a more networked way of managing and contributing content, so we're not all forced to put things on the eXtension site. And I'm drawing on my library expertise, but even more, I'm relying on other folks who are smarter than I about this stuff. So I hope to have a report in mid-October, and I'm definitely gearing it towards this COP, so stay tuned.
Excellent. Thanks so much. I know you guys are doing a lot, and I've been lurking and following, and I'm excited about that. That actually leads into what I'm getting ready to propose for a new working group. And anybody, that's what is so cool about our network here, is that it's a really distributed leadership system. If you've got an idea, kind of like in an open space group process, throw it out there and see if it sticks. If so, then you can start a conversation and start to build some curricula or some research protocols, or go after some grant dollars. I'm getting ready to do that with a leadership idea. So my focus at Ohio State has shifted, working statewide now and teaching on campus in leadership. And so since my bosses want me to do that, I said, hey, why don't we start a national network around leadership and just have those conversations, share ideas, crowdsource with each other. So you'll be hearing about that soon. And that's as easy as it is. So if you've got an idea, then by all means, throw it out there and get something started.
Thank you, Brian. It's a great example for everybody on the call who might be interested in joining any research, extension, teaching, curriculum design kind of activities, just to share information with us. And it's easy to find partners, all kinds of collaboration opportunities here through our community. Quick announcement. Again, just want to remind everybody, we will start doing quarterly meetings through the same forum, Zoom, webinar, or phone calling, just to keep everybody connected in a way. It depends on your interest. We will also be interested in recruiting your ideas. If you want to do one to showcase your work, we will be happy to support that. I will be available in person in both of the conferences mentioned several times through our conversation here. I will be available with USDA and other organizations to do the Q&A and the short, quick, easy introduction about e-extension, our community, and other services we offer. I will be in New Orleans for a long time. Now, thank you very much for your participation. If you have any question, you may ask, type in the chat box, any information you missed that you didn't quite catch up with, ask us. Brian, I think we just open up for a few more minutes for people to send us some thoughts.
Or to speak up. If you have an idea for a working group, a potential research project, yell right now.
Hey, this is Duncan. I would like to just give you guys a shout out. It's great having Kathleen Liang on board and supporting and taking leadership on this. But I have to say it's been great working with Brian over the last year. Leadership, it's just perfect for him to be taking leadership on developing leadership training. And Katie Wright, bless her soul, is despite all that she's juggling in her life, has been an amazing support person, and kudos goes to her as well. So I just want, in terms of your relationship with NASN and building bridges to a nonprofit outside of Extension, though certainly running parallel with it, we really appreciate everything you guys have done and have felt welcome to be a part of this. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Duncan. Anybody else who has any requests, comments, questions, clarifications? Some people are typing information asking for the website information that is available. We will share notes. We can also compile the request of the web link and send them to you for everybody who participate. I will work with Katie to post the information too on our community website. Any other requests?
Yes, this is Amanda Perez from Arkansas.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, great to hear about everything today, and I've had the great opportunity to work with most of the people on the call. I have seen some emails coming through and seen some posts about developing some courses for community and local food systems development to offer at the undergraduate and master's level, but I haven't been able to participate in anything like that. So I would be interested in developing some curriculum for the University of Arkansas. And if this group is working on that, please get in touch with me.
That's it, Amanda. You just started a working group. We will just call it curriculum design and the information sharing. So you can feel free to send your requests through our web link or email listserv. Everybody sign up with our community. You can share anything through our listserv, that email address. And we'll make sure to remind everybody again. Okay, Amanda?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if anybody knows a good curriculum, any information to share with Amanda, please let us know too. Anything else? Katie, you would like to say a few things to introduce yourself?
Sorry about that. I'm muted and I'm not feeling well today. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody thanked you, so I thought you would like to say a few words too.
No, this has been a great meeting. I appreciate so many people coming together, and I do want to say that I will be starting a working group for my research at the University of Arkansas, which is enhancing consumer knowledge about fresh produce handling at farmers markets. Yeah, so I'll have to put that together and get the information out, and hopefully I can get some help with that.
Great. It sounds like a great idea. Anybody interested or know anybody who would be interested, just send us this way and we will make sure Katie connects with them. And Duncan mentioned a really good thing about including nonprofit organizations. Since this is an open forum, a freestyle leadership, open kind of thing, anybody, any organization can participate. There's really no limit. Sky is the limit. Just use your imagination how to use us. Brian told me that our community is probably one of the most engaged, dynamic, and interactive groups throughout the e-extension system, which is a great that everybody has passion to work with each other. So feel free to share our information with others and share the values with others and recruit other people to support us and join us for a great venture. Any requests or comments? It's 2:01 on my clock.
Thanks, Kathleen.
If nobody has any comments at this point, if you think of anything, send the email, send the request. Don't worry about it. We will be fine. As long as you don't leave us, we'll be happy to help you. And we look forward to our next conversation and look forward to seeing many of you in the conferences. All right. Thank you very much.